After a one-week vacation, the IORA Cup Series is back in action in one of the biggest circuits in all of oval stock car racing. The Talladega SuperSpeedway brings 2.66 miles of fun, action-packed racing each and every lap. And tonight we've got more than 70 laps to watch as we're going to see the championship battle progress. Drivers taking qualifying laps as it stands and qualifying on the move in the Sparks 213. Welcoming you back live on FTN after a fantastic Wednesday night with the FORL Cup Series. I'll be hosting all of the action once again on FTN. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you enjoy all of tonight's action, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. And right now, qualifying just about wrapping up. 9 drivers have taken the time, and it looks like Alexander Valdez shoots up to second on the board. Jacob Wilkerson with the provisional pole as it stands. So Wilkerson looking to go back-to-back with success on FTN. Won the FORL Cup Series championship last night and might be able to win an IORA Cup Series race tonight if all goes well. Daniel Mosteller is going to be on pit road, set not to take a qualifying time. Same goes for Oliver Quinney, and the rest of the field looks to be set in stone in regards to qualifying position. So qualifying has already concluded, and with that being said, time to find out who's on your starting grid and who is starting where. The Sparks 213 takes the field to the Alabama International Motor Speedway in Talladega, Alabama. And tonight, get ready for 75 scheduled laps. The original 80 shortened slightly to accommodate for timing for all drivers. 213 miles shortened just under 205. Going to be 75 laps. Now, it looks to be put back to 80, so 75 goes back. It's a back and forth process. 213 is the confirmed distance, so we'll be racing full on tonight, and 213 miles with qualifying already set, and we know for the very least who's going to be starting up in front here in Talladega. Qualifying decided already, drivers going on to your starting grid, iRacing official pace car already in formation, so without further ado, let's find out how your starting grid stacks up here in Alabama. It's race number 12 of the IORA Cup Series season number 4, and we keep things moving. One of the fastest tracks in all of stock car racing, the Talladega SuperSpeedway. Jacob Wilkerson won the FORL Cup Series championship last night. He finds himself in the pole position tonight, and he gets it by 27 thousandths of a second over Alexander Valdez in the runner-up spot in qualifying. Number 95 machine second to Jacob Wilkerson's number 43. Then from there, James Thurston, who won last night's event and the FORL Cup Series winner at Homestead, looking to try to get things done here in Talladega, is James Thurston third, and then right beside him, Chase Schaefer, position number 4. Kenny Reel is set to round out the top 5 in qualifying, and championship leader by only 4 points. It's Sean Conklin at number 54, won at Daytona, looking to win once again here on the plate tracks. There's Sean Conklin starting in 6th, as he'll be just ahead of Vincent Guecci's number 09 machine. Vinny will be starting right beside Henry Kaloff, as Henry, after a 4th place finish last night in Homestead, will be running to start this one in the 8th position in his number 63. Casey Bentz returns for his 2nd point-paying race this season. 9th spot for the driver, the number 36, and with Casey Bentz being in the 9th position, that will move Daniel Mosteller to the final spot inside of the top 10. Demos, number 87 team, starting in 10th on the dot. As the iRacing official pace car gets things rolling, 11 places then going to be held by River Page and number 24 team, with Joseph Armstrong rounding out the top dozen. As you'll see drivers continue to pass by your screen this time through. 13th place is going to be Sean Rowe. Oliver Quinney will be in position number 14, and from there on out to conclude your top 15, it will be the driver of the number 35 in Will Shack. Ethan Eckert looks to miss the start of this race, however he did qualify in 16th. We'll see whether or not he opts to start on pit road, as Ethan is not going to be in formation with the rest of the field. One final row, Xander McKinney in the number 40 machine returns to action, and he'll be starting in the 17th position, with the 18th and last spot then held by the number 51 of Braxton Whitaker. That is your starting grid here in the Talladega SuperSpeedway, and 12th race of the season coming right up. And with drivers already in double file formation, Jacob Wilkerson knows it's going to be hard to top the performance he put together last night in Homestead. The FORL Cup Series championship going his way after a tremendous Final Four fight. Nothing is locked up in the playoff system, but for Jacob Wilkerson, who came through with the winningest season of any driver in the FORL Cup Series, he was able to hold his own no matter where the drivers went to, from Daytona, the high banks to kick off the season, to the very end in Miami. It was Wilkerson, dominant man, and he's had some success to a Talladega, so keep an eye out for this number 43 fast in qualifying, and now hoping to see the pace transfer into this race. But a lot of strong competition, as it looks like Alexander Balderas is going to go way to the back of the field. Chase Schaefer is going to end up on the high side of the front row, giving the advantage to that number 99 machine here as he sets to get himself back on the podium. He won at the SuperSpeedway style track in Atlanta, but we're back to the big super speedways tonight. High stakes, higher speeds, and the pressure is back on. Jacob Wilkerson, a FORL champion, looks to take an IORA win as the green flag will wave. Welcome to Talladega and the Sparks 213. Chase Schaefer, new race leader in Talladega, finds himself ahead now of Sean Conklin with a big run here for James Thurston on the high side. Already multi-group racing going to be in play. Leading man going to be Chase Schaefer as the rest of the field is all bundled up. Everyone going to be in the pack now, save for Ethan Eckert. Looks like the driver who qualified just within the top 15's confines will not be starting in this event, meaning now we have 17 drivers who took to the green flag, and 17 drivers are indeed on the track. Going to be a bit of a wiggle there, as you'll see. That's Casey Benson, number 36. Haven't seen all too much of Casey throughout this season so far, trying to get his footing in, and right now running inside the podium, and his first super speedway race here in the IORA Cup Series. Great way to start it, getting that track position early. Daniel Mosteller is coming through, and a bit of a different look for Daniel Mosteller tonight in that number 87, so keep that in mind. Unlike the usual Chevy Camaro, or even unlike the Ford Mustang he ran once this season already, Daniel Mosteller for the first time will race in a Toyota Camry this year, and the 87 now leads the way, being shoved to the front of the field by Alexander Balderas. Demos to the point. He's going to bring that 95 of Balderas with him, and Vincent Guecci is going to get up to third immediately thereafter. Vinny's going to be inside the top three, bringing James Thurston up to fourth, and already drivers finding friends and getting into packs and starting to find that group that they'll be with around for the entirety of this race. And it's a big cooperative night in regards to how drivers race each other right now. Daniel Mosteller getting a lot of support from Alexander Balderas, and that support's going to bring him all the way up to the front of the field. Full throttle racing for the most part now, and drivers settling in double file. So 80 laps of racing here in Talladega. Last time we saw Talladega race live on FTN, believe it went down to the wire in the Integrity Ignite series, and there were no cautions in that 88-lap race. However, different super speedway package. That was the Xfinity Series package, whereas tonight we're going to be using those next gens, which have a bit more power to them, have 5 gears, and the aerodynamic tendencies are much different. In particular, when it comes to pushing and shoving, these are not flat bumpered machines. There's a bit of a curve on the sides of each rear end, no matter the manufacturer. As you look on board right now, it's Chase Schaefer, and look at the driver just ahead, and of course Vincent Guecci, you can see a little bit of a curve, so you want to push square. If you don't get it on the middle of the bumper, you're going to be in big trouble as the night goes on. Bad pushes lead to big wrecks, and they could lead to major championship implications. With so few races left on the schedule, going to be all right, some aggressive driving. Way down low, Chase Schaefer takes it. Vinny's going to be put 3. Casey Bentz is right up top, and now Casey looks for the race lead. Up on the high side there with Henry Kaloff. Daniel Mosteller opts to lie down low, and he'll take Chase Schaefer right there with him. Chase Schaefer's got the race lead once more, 5 laps in, out of 80. Early lead so far for Chase Schaefer, looking good in regards to performance to this point, and maybe he's going to have what it takes to run all night long. He was, of course, a driver we've seen with multiple ends of the same story at Atlanta. Last season, he lost the Atlanta event by 2 1/1000ths of a second. This season, at the line, just barely able to pull it home for a bit of a redemption victory, so he knows what it's like to win at a superspeedway style track. However, Talladega has a different feeling to that of Atlanta. Atlanta Motor Speedway reconfigured to have high speeds all the time, whereas Talladega Speedway built and meant for this style of racing. Casey Bent's going to go down low. New race leaders, the number 36, and the rookie in only his second points-paying start finds himself up in front. Not bad way to kick things off, as you'll see Joseph Armstrong up on the high side. He's going to take that second groove and try to get to the lead. Armstrong, who won last season at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, looking to go for 2 wins in 2 seasons at the very least, as Joseph Armstrong gets pushed by Jacob Wilkerson. Not much comes of it for the time being, and they're going to back up their run. Whether or not that's intentional remains to be seen, but going to back further and further up, and coming down the Alabama gang super stretch all over again. It's going to be the high side, now commanded by that number 99. Chase Schaefer goes up top, and it's going to be Schaefer trying to run that high side better than anyone else. Joseph Armstrong opts to leave him in the dust, so Armstrong goes down low. Going to take Daniel Mosteller down to the bottom side, as well as Casey Bentz will block high. Already multi-groove blocking. That's going to be put into effect. Casey Bentz is going to get swallowed 3 and gets lucky with Chase Schaefer's help, and you can see how quick these lines are shifting up throughout the entirety of the field. Every driver, all 17 that took the green flag, are separate by only 1 second flat, and right now the bottom groove once again gets the advantage. Daniel Mosteller making the right choice to stick with it. Joseph Armstrong making the right choice to abandon the middle side, and now going to be able to reap the benefits here as he leads the way with Demos just ahead. Alexander Balderas just behind. 8 laps in out of 80. That's the way they roll, and it's so far going to be the 87 in full command up in front. Looks like we'll look further back, and you'll see the Tabasco number 35 of Will Shack. While he is running in the 7th position, it looks like right now going to be a bit of trouble on the front end. If you take a look at it closer, going to be pushed in just a bit. Aerodynamically speaking, already a disadvantage so early, and that can happen even if we don't see a major wreck as the night goes on. Expect to see drivers pushing their luck in regards to bumping, shoving, getting that draft, and if there's any major hits or pieces of contact the cars don't particularly like, you'll see damage begin to form, and you'll see it quickly develop from a minor tap in to major shove-in. You might even lose the front end at the end of the night. Hopefully that's not the case, as one driver is going to drop way off the pace. Looks to be Sean Rowe, and his Rowe is going to drop down big. He gets back in play as the SR Designs number 99 loses pace and luckily gets back under control. Sean Rowe heading to the back of the field. Up in front though, still Daniel Mosteller as they're side by side in the mid-pack. Jacob Wilkerson goes all the way up to the top side. It's still Will Shack side by side now with Oliver Quinney. There's Chase Schaefer just ahead. Most of your field still in formation here. Every driver running around each other, and this is the way it's going to be for the majority of the night, if of course pit strategy is simple. Now we might see some differences in the way drivers approach pit road, and the reason being green flag pit stops, if we go 15-20 laps further, are guaranteed mathematically. Pit stops mean, of course, the drivers will not be able to go all the night on their set of tire, their fuel load. In this instance, most likely going to be about the fuel, and if they can't go all night on fuel, they'll have to come down to pit road eventually. And for some instances, they may be bailed out by a caution. It's more likely that we're going to see at least one green flag cycle as the night goes on, especially given the way this one is open with Demos up in front. And when Mosteller gets that lead in terms of a plate race, very unlikely to see him give it back. He seldom will give away that position intentionally, let alone make it easy to fight for it. And right now, with Demos up in front, he's hoping to prove that once again he is the best super speedway driver in this league, leading 11 laps in out of 80. Looking further back, you're going to see one driver fade back big, and Casey Bentz. Bentz, the rookie, is going to drop back big. Now going to be right in the territory of Jacob Wilkerson and River Page. River's going to right now find himself just below the number 43. And for Wilkerson, this night, maybe a bit more one to relax under the cockpit, of course, inside the cockpit and under the sim. It's the number 43's team that pulled through for Paintbrush Racing FORL Cup Series Championship last night in a triple overtime debacle. It came down to the 3-lap to go mark when we got our first of 3 consecutive yellows, and Jacob Wilkerson almost had that championship wrapped up. Well, Max Molina and Andrew Cootie, they had other plans and wrecked each other with 3 to go. Minor damage for the both of them, so it was still possible that another driver would win the championship as a result. Then we got the first yellow flag, which involved all 3 drivers inside of the lead lap that were still in the championship for. Joey Stone was several laps down. Then there was another incident involving Andrew Cootie, and then the final incident took Max Molina and Andrew Cootie as well. Huge trouble late, but Jacob Wilkerson survived all the chaos. He's a FORL Cup Series champion and the Rookie of the Year in the FORL Cup Series, looking to build that reputation here in the IORA Cup Series. A lot of familiar drivers. Race winner James Thurston also racing tonight, so these drivers know what the 43 is capable of. Now the question is whether or not he can prove it here, as the night has only just begun. James Thurston is now getting right to the back bumper of Joseph Armstrong, and with Thurston running inside the podium, the only thing separating he and your race leader is Armstrong's number 22. With Joseph now running in the mix up in front, getting those laps, he's showing once again that he's got the experience and the ability to win races here in the IORA Cup Series. Now, not often do we see him compete in a full-time basis. Past few weeks, seeing a bit more of Joseph Armstrong. However, we know that most often competes for a few weeks, takes about a week or two aside, then returns. This could be the final stretch of nights. The number 22 comes out to race here in the IORA Cup Series, at least for the time being, and he knows that every opportunity he gets, it could be that final chance to go for a win, so why not make it happen tonight? Chase Schaefer, Alexander Balderas come down the back straightaway, and now Schaefer gets some help for the number 95. And looks to move up to the top spot on the board. Balderas is barely going to pinch into the top 3. It's going to be Chase Schaefer getting that race lead just slightly. And now Daniel Mosteller's got some competition way down low. 87 machine doesn't have the speed. New race leader in Chase Schaefer. And Chase is going to take Alexander Balderas right down to the bottom. It's a 2-for-1 move. And all of a sudden, the low side has new leaders. It's going to be Schaefer, Balderas up in front. This brings Oliver Quinney into play as well. And just like that, it's going to be Oliver fighting on the second row in the second position. Jacob Wilkerson now shoves Oliver out to a substantial lead. He's got at least a car length now. Wilkerson's going to try to push him even further out, and they are clearing away up in front at a speed of now 198 miles an hour. Wilkerson will shove Oliver Quinney to the race lead, and that is a big move. And you saw how much time these two gain. Chase Schaefer, who was just the leader of this race a lap ago, now fades back and almost looks to be out of the race lead tension, at least for the time being. He loses a lot of time, a lot of speed, gets caught in a shuffle there, and you'll see it benefits Wilkerson greatly, and also is going to take Sean Conklin up there too to wait the situation out, go for a little bit longer in terms of being patient, and eventually gain those positions as the night goes on. So learning from how it goes lap after lap and adapting to situations is going to be key for these drivers, and you just saw an example of it as 16 laps in. Oliver Quinney now leads the way. It's Sean Conklin second. Henry Kaloff is going to be right behind Jacob Wilkerson. Here they'll go high, as now Alexander Balderas is mired in the mid-pack, and the number 51 of Braxton Whitaker goes way down low, opting to take it to the bottom side now as they come out of turn 4 and head back to the Tri-Oval. One of the most unique features of the Talladega SuperSpeedway is the fact that the Tri-Oval is slightly pushed back in terms of where the start-finish line is. After you get through the apex of the tri-oval, you go about 500 feet, and you eventually find yourself at the start-finish line before the entry of Turn 1. Unlike Daytona or any other traditional oval, that is not the case anyplace save for Talladega, and that gives way to some exciting strategy in the final few moments of a race that might not be seen anywhere else. Xander McKinney comes down to pit road this time by. Xander will make it down in for what could be the first competitive pit stop of the night. Number 40 makes it through, looks to be taking fuel and tire at the same time, so keep an eye out for the drivers as they now will begin to head to pit road. This time through, Sean Conklin stays out, so does James Thurston, and the majority of the field opts to do so as well. However, we could see some changes here as 17 laps in, pit road becomes occupied. Xander McKinney goes one lap down, and even though he did take tires, it looks like he might be disconnecting from the session. Sean Rowe going to be now the final driver on the lead lap, and he's going to be 16th on his own. Then you look back to Alexander Bolderis and Casey Bentz. They're still with the lead pack, however, they're just within the confines of the top 15 and hardly holding on, which goes to show the level of competition. Everyone is close, everyone is in the battle, and right now the race lead could go any which way. If you're inside the frame when they go through turn 4, which the entire field is, you've got a shot at the race win. And that's saying something. 18 laps in out of 80. We have yet to see true competitive green flag pit stops. However, we're getting closer and closer to that point as drivers come across the line yet again. Sean Conklin, new race leader, finds himself up in front now over Daniel Mosteller, and only for a brief moment. Vinny's now going to push through it. Guecci helping out Daniel Mosteller. Once again, Demos gets that race lead at 87 and back on top here, hoping to lead at the quarter-way mark in just about a lap time. It's Demos, Conklin right beside each other, and this is another important battle because keep it in mind, those are your top two in the point standings, and they are separated by only 4 points. Sean Conklin has been the dominant man this season. Daniel Mosteller, if not for fewer victories, has been just about as consistent, and he's going to slide way low. Trouble indeed. Everyone's going to be able to get it back sorted. Now down to pit road, Kenny Real spins. Yellow flags out. The Tabasco 35 goes around. James Thurston in the wall, and what looked to be chaos under control becomes unmanageable. Yellow flag will fly, and we got ourselves a caution for the first time tonight. 20 laps in out of 80, almost surely going to see pit stop strategy now as the yellow flag is out. We'll take an instant replay and find out just what happened. Now looks like Daniel Mosteller shoved first by Vincent Guecci. Balderas goes down low, tags Vincent Guecci, and that's what sets off the chain reaction. There's Thurston, there's Kenny Real. Vinny's going to continue to be hit. Will Shack will get in it as well, and that will take multiple drivers at once. River Page shoots through, so does Joseph Armstrong, and Henry Caloth catches a piece, and they're on out. Chaos continues as Thurston multiple times over is hit. Will Shack goes through the grass. Braxton Whitaker gets a bye. However, a few other drivers not as lucky. Mosteller substantially slowed down. Kenny Real goes down to pit road sliding in. And Alexander Balderas, who was part of the initiation of that contact, might have got a bit of damage as well. Yellow flag is out for the first time tonight. 20 laps in out of 80. And trouble for the first time here with Sean Conklin, your race leader, up in the front of the field. The iRacing official pace car back on track, and after about a quarter of this one, we have trouble brewing once again. Pit road gets busy this time by with Conklin leading him in, Wilkerson there, Schaefer as well. Substantial loss of track position for Demos, however, no major damage, and if anything, in the IORA Cup Series, you do have one fast repair, so there's always going to be that extra opportunity in regards to getting back up to the front of the field, which drivers can utilize at will, and now there's a chance to. Pit road gonna get busy indeed. Caution has flown. Yellow flag is still out on the track. We're gonna find out who gets off of pit road first. Pit road exit camera will show you everything that's going on at the line. Wilkerson is gonna be your race leader. Then from there, immediately following, Sean Conklin, Chase Schaefer. Then from there, Oliver Quinney, and immediately thereafter looks to be at the line, Braxton Whitaker barely beating out Casey Bentz. Joseph Armstrong, then going to be Kenny Real, and the top 10 is going to be rounded out at the moment by Will Shack, and one more driver making their way out right now. It appears to be at the line. 10th place now held by Henry Kaloff. So that's going to be your top 10 after pit road. Leaders Jacob Wilkerson and Sean Conklin gets out close enough to stay inside the top 2. Now it's going to be Wilkerson, Conklin, Schaefer, Oliver Quinney, your fast 4, 21 laps in, out of 80. And pit road's still going to be busy for the time being. Drivers are still exiting. Balderas is going to go out with Sean Rowe. And see from there, it's James Thurston, Vincent Guecci, and Daniel Mosteller who are still going to be waiting to get back on the track. Vinny gets going now. Jacob Wilkerson is going to be leading, while it looks like Thurston and Mosteller are going to stay on pit road as long as possible until Jacob comes around the track. And from that point forth, we'll have 1 lap until the green flag, and we'll get back to the green flag at the end of lap number 22. Lap 23 for your first restart of the day. For those of you watching for the first time tonight in the IORA Cup Series, this is Season 4, Race 12. It's the Sparks 213 and 80 lap race, 213 miles of high-speed racing from the high banks of the Talladega SuperSpeedway. It's going to be right now Jacob Wilkerson, your leader, Sean Conklin second, Chase Schaefer in third, and you're watching live on FTN. I'm your host for tonight's broadcasting, commentating, and producing. I'm David Troitz, and if you enjoy the show, once again, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Hope it hit 1,400 subscribers at the very minimum to end 2023. We've got some giveaways planned for the iRacing community, so keep that in mind as we hope to head toward another successful year in 2024. Caution is out, and now 1 lap to green. Field is double file yet again, and we'll be getting back at it this time through 23 laps in for restart number 1. With all being said, just a few laps shy of getting that green flag pit cycle in, and we were having ourselves a solid race. Just a bit of miscommunication gives way to a chain reaction of sorts, and it's going to end up with a few drivers hitting the wall. Thurston and Daniel Mosteller alike are back with the lead lappers, and you'll see there's Demos and James Thurston not too far behind as well. I believe that their choice was instead to take all the optional damage possible instead of using that faster pair. Knowing the volatile nature of a plate race, you don't want to risk using that faster pair right now. Instead, wait it out, see if things get worse, see if push does indeed come to shove, and maybe by that point, and maybe past the halfway or 75% marker, that's when you use the faster pair if absolutely necessary. But in all honesty, you really want to have it in your back pocket for the entirety of this race, which is hard to determine before all is done. I mean, hindsight is 20/20 for a reason, as Sean Conklin is inside the iRacing official pace car. You gotta understand that if you keep that faster pair with you, but you never have the speed to keep up with the pack, if there's no other caution for the rest of the race, what are you going to do about it? You really can't do anything. And if you use the faster pair early, then get caught in a very late race wreck, once again, that's all you've got. And that's all she wrote. You really can't change the past or change the way the race went. You've got to make the right calls before they become relevant. That's the big challenge here in terms of plate racing. So far, though, pole sitter Jacob Wilkerson has been the best of the bunch. 22 laps in, leads this race, and as the iRacing official pace car will come down to pit road, it'll be all in the hands of your number 43 yet again. Sean Conklin up high, Chase Schaefer behind, your leading driver, control car. Jacob Wilkerson leads us back to the green flag for the first restart of the day. Grabbing a gear, green flag is back out. Welcome back to racing in Talladega. Going to be Jacob Wilkerson out in front, getting that race lead, and he's got it now just ahead of Schaefer and Sean Conklin, respectively. Nice jump on the restart there, and just enough to get that race lead right back. Double file for the most part, every driver in formation. 16 drivers on the track, 17 drivers started this race, 18 drivers registered for this event, so only 2 retirees overall. Largely successful night to this point for most drivers. Minor damage may be accumulated for some, but you'll see now, Thurston and Daniel Mosteller are like, who might have just gotten the most damage out of that wreck of anyone, they're already making moves early, getting by Sean Rowe, Casey Benson. James Thurston's going to get risky on the high side, even going to get by Kenny Reel, and all of a sudden in contention for the top 5 spot once again, as it's now going to be Braxton Whitaker up in a third, number 51 machine inside the podium, and we might see some underdog drivers making their way up to the top. Whitaker going to be back in the traditional number 51 paint scheme he's run just about all season long, and works down the back straightaway with ease here. He's got Sean Conklin right in front of him, and now Sean's got a huge advantage over Jacob Wilkerson. It's a nice push there from Braxton Whitaker, and it looks like for the time being Conklin will not desert his pushing partner, which is a fundamental lesson here in terms of trust and racing. Some drivers get that shove and they immediately leave their pushing partner. Some other drivers opt to stay in their lane, understanding what they have, and choose to keep that success going, as it looks like success no more. Yellow flag due to fly. Will Shack, River Page, big trouble once again, and it might just be a smoke show to remember here at Talladega. Mosteller involved, Kaloff in it too. Caution is out once again. Yellow flag will fly, and we've got trouble once more here in Talladega. First sign of trouble looked to be Will Shack spinning. The rest of the field immediately thereafter going to be involved as the pace car drifts down the pit exit. Here's a look once again to see what caused it. Will Shack side by side with Chase Schaefer as they came through the tri-oval at once. Schaefer, middle of 3 wide. Wilkerson came up. Schaefer did too. And then Will Shack got into contact. Shack is going to end up sending Schaefer into Kaloff. James Thurston gets a piece. So does River Page. And Daniel Mosteller tries to get out of it. Looks like he gets lucky. And you'll see they're going to hit the brakes. Then get pounded and T-boned by the number 35. And that's going to be Mosteller also involved. Kenny Reel up in the wall. Yellow flag out once again, with the caution flying 25 laps in. That's your second yellow flag of the day. Another caution in succession here as we bring it back to your leading feed. Sean Conklin, still your race leader, and he has that lead now, 25 laps in, out of 80. So it's going to be Conklin who got the jump on that run, taking the race lead. Right now, he still has it in his hand as a few drivers opt to come down to pit road this time through. In particular, looks to be Joseph Armstrong leading a bunch down and in. There's James Thurston, not to mention Chase Schaefer right behind him, and a few drivers making their move down to pit road yet again to get some extra service. Given a very short run, the only advantage would realistically be if we went green and there was a bit more in the tank to go the rest of the way. That might be the game plan here as Thurston comes in. Not to mention there's Alexander Balderas down and in as well. Sean Conklin, Braxton Whitaker, Jacob Wilkerson. Those are the drivers right now who are not on pit road. Rest of the field opting to take the chance. Coming down in, there's Balderas with Vincent Guecci, not to mention Casey Bentz, and James Thurston set to come through as well, as Casey Bentz now lines up in 7th. Will Shack is 8th. James Thurston is now currently 9th, but we'll see whether or not he stays any longer on pit road as many drivers come in for additional damage repair. Thurston, Schaefer, Reel, Kaloff, Mosteller, Page, Rowe, and Quinney all going to be down for an extended period of time, be it for extra service or damage repair. A lot of drivers with the same reason as Sean Conklin goes all the way to the bottom of the track here, and he's all the way down on the apron, so I'm not quite sure what this number 54 is looking for, but Sean Conklin hoping to find it as he's all the way down low and not running with the rest of the field. There's Sean Conklin and the Dark Horse Ryko Performance Machine, and he's been the dominant man so far, winningest driver of the season to this point. 4 checkered flags in the first 8 races set him apart for the rest of the field, and he's been the class since that point. Oh, so close to victory when it came down to Road America's finish. Was not in contention clearly at Homestead, however, still one of the fastest drivers in all of the competitions we've seen this season. And Conklin, he has a championship lead, and while not major, a night like this could go in his favor given Daniel Mosteller has been involved in both cautions so far. 4 points back on the championship lead. Demos needs a good night, and he's brought out his Toyota Camry for the first time this season, hoping to see a bit more luck in the silver oval than he's seen recently with the bow tie and the blue oval. It's going to be Mosteller right now in 9th, hoping to get back up to the leader of Sean Conklin. The only way now to make up points on Sean is to get that lead and win this race, as currently Conklin holds all the points in his back pocket. One lap to green, this time by choose rule going to be once more in effect. Conklin goes low, Wilkerson goes high, and it's going to be Braxton Whitaker taking it down to the bottom. So we've got ourselves a top 3 lined up. Joseph Armstrong, not too far behind, is going to be scored in 4th. Alexander Balderas will then conclude the top 5, and you'll see Vincent Guecci right there as well. Kenny Reel is going to be 1 lap down, getting extended service that goes beyond 1 lap of time, so going to be a bit more trouble for Kenny Reel than anyone else, as Conklin's going to go down to the bottom of the track. It looks like he will get an end-of-line penalty if, of course, he chooses to slow down. But that he won't. Just going to take it down to the apron once again and roll through the bumps here in Talladega. The infield, not all too smooth, and you can see how he's almost up and down on the track, almost two-wheeling it at times. There's a bit more vibration down low than on the racing surface. And a very wide track here at Talladega, and there's a lot of room on that apron to slide away from a wreck, and Conklin testing the waters already. John Conklin is your leader. Jacob Wilkerson, pole sitter, will start up high on the front row. And Braxton Whitaker has made some moves as of recent, staying out of trouble, opted not to go down a pit road, and as such, remains with your leading drivers 27 laps in, out of 80. Here they'll go again. iRacing official pace car up in the front of the field. It's a Ford Mustang set to drop down to pit road and let the drivers have at it yet again. Here we go once more. We're going to be led this time by Sean Conklin, the number 54. Then going to be Jacob Wilkerson's number 43 right beside. 2 cautions in the past 10 laps. Hoping to break the cycle. This is restart number 2. Green flag going to be held in the hands of Barney the flagman, and this time by your current points leader gets to see the green flag first. Talladega Superspeedway sees the roar of the stock cars once more. Here we go again. Second restart of the night, led by Conklin. We're back underway. And going to be an immediate jump there for Sean Conklin, who finds himself now your new race leader. Then from there, it's going to be Jacob Wilkerson right behind, pushing and shoving in effectively the second position. But Joseph Armstrong now goes for the lead no matter what. He's got the support from Vincent Guecci, and Vinny once again pushing big, which gives that number 22 almost enough to go down low. Doesn't have enough, though, to clear, and they're going to be 3 wide for the top spot once again. Already going to be some risky racing, as you're going to see Conklin on the bottom, Joseph Armstrong in the middle side fades away, high side's got a bit more left in the tank, but nothing to see in the front stretch, as it looks like now the second groove gets every driver from the top, and Jacob Wilkerson goes up to the second lane. Conklin's got the lead, but Wilkerson's got the momentum, and he'll be shoved to return to 1 and 2, now trying to get further and further away from Sean Conklin behind him. Your pole sitter tonight came to win, and he knows the checkered flag is in sight. However, there's still a ways to go to get to that point. 29 out of 80, still more than halfway remaining. Got to keep the fight on until the very end right now, and for Jacob Wilkerson, he's just getting things started with some help from Joseph Armstrong. He's got the lead, and now Henry Kaloff is going to go up top with Chase Schaefer, and Daniel Mosteller making the move ahead of Sean Conklin. Conklin down to 14th, Demos is up to 5th. Championship race once again changing as the 87 goes up top to put Henry Kaloff back in his place. Bottom side for Kaloff, middle groove still for Demos, and just like that changes once again as Joseph Armstrong now sees that number 87 machine back in frame. Take a look off the back bumper here with Joseph Armstrong, and you'll see how close Demos really is. And now Mosteller going to be pushing and shoving bumper to bumper. They're locked up with each other, and it's going to be all about whether or not Demos can break away. As you'll see, Jacob Wilkerson goes high with Chase Schaefer. They're trying to set up a run in the background, and in addition, Henry Kaloff has the direct draft to this number 87. Even if Demos is running away just a bit with Joseph Armstrong, that is not going to be long term. And right now you got to understand these short term boosts come with longer term consequences, as it's going to be Kaloff right up top, barreling through the front stretch all over again. It's going to be now Kaloff quick, but Kaloff turned. Does he save it? No! Trouble with Balderas. Yellow flag going to fly again, and that it does. Caution is out. Now Kaloff is destroyed. Balderas is going to be caught up as well. Caution out again. Will Shack is going to barely drive through, and the caution is out for the third time. We've got ourselves a yellow flag. Instant replay will show you what caused it, as it looks to be an incident involving Balderas and Henry Kaloff in particular. That's where it looks to have set off, and we'll take a look once again here with Kaloff on that second groove, trying to get to the line. He was there with Daniel Mosteller, and the CB fabricating machine got to the stripe in one piece, and this is when things go awry for Henry Kaloff, and it looks like Joseph Armstrong is going to get much slower. Kaloff tries to check up. Chase Schaefer tries to make the move on him, and Henry gets tagged. This sends the 63 sideways 90 degrees, and as Kaloff washes up, he keeps his foot on the gas, slides right into Balderas, and that's what keeps the wild nature of this wreck going, and a violent spin up to the top of the wall. Balderas comes back down, doesn't hit anyone on the way there. However, it looks like Henry Kaloff might have gotten a piece, as you'll see, no front bumper, and he is torn up. 32 laps in, and to shreds Kaloff's car will go. Almost gets a beach there on the way out, but looks like he did escape the wreck, and now running on the track once again at the speed of about 174 miles an hour, so not terribly slow. However, right now, new race leader Joseph Armstrong is out in front, and he's going to get away from that risky moment unscathed as your new top driver on the charts. And just like that, it's going to be Joseph Armstrong up in front of the field, 32 laps in, out of 80, and some changes being made to the way these drivers are running, and you can see a bit more aggression in the past 15 laps, a third yellow flag in those 15 laps as we've mentioned, and another set of drivers comes down to pit road. Here Vincent Guecci will go. Vinny's going to make his way down and in, not to mention there goes James Thurston at the same time, and Henry Kaloff, while not there immediately, is set to come down with another set of drivers, including Oliver Quinney, Sean Conklin, River Page, Will Shack, Alexander Balderas, Daniel Mosteller yet again, and yes indeed, Henry Kaloff, the final of which, with no front bumper to speak of. Big trouble there for Kaloff, is now 2 laps to green. We'll be heading back to the green flag at the end of lap number 34, and 35 will be your restart lap for the third time tonight. So some troubles in Talladega, as it looks like an early green flag run has given way to more chaotic style of racing ever since, and that's unfortunately going to give way to less racing laps, more pacing laps, as pit road is once again active. Alexander Balderas is going to be getting back on his way. Number 95 is going to be scored now in 9th. In addition, you'll see other drivers such as Sean Conklin and James Thurston in the back of the field choosing to stay on pit road longer. River Page just got on his way, and pit exit going to be number 24's discipline for now. He's the only one working through the exit. Daniel Mosteller will come through there with them, and finally now you're going to see that number 54 of Sean Conklin get on his way. James Thurston's going to remain in 13th on pit road, taking another set of extension damage repaired, and some drivers holding it out longer on pit road, others not as much. However, as of the most recent laps, you can sort of rely on these cautions to be a bit more frequent, and that's not a good thing per se. However, that's just the way it's gone. 33 laps in, out of 80, slowly but surely approaching your halfway marker. Joseph Armstrong leads, Jacob Wilkerson is second, Chase Schaefer is third, and Braxton Whittaker then is fourth. And then there's a bunch here that comes right off of pit road. Right now, Vincent Guecci, Oliver Quinney, and Will Shack going to be with each other, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And for Vincent Guecci, still chasing victory here in the IORA Cup Series, close as he's come. Second place finish in Season 2 at Lanier was a head-to-head battle between he and Jerry Rodriguez. Jerry got it done for Vincent Guecci. Just couldn't quite make it at the stripe. It was a photo finish at a short track. Not quite the track that the IORA Cup Series would go to today. However, in its earlier seasons, a lot of wild races which came down to the wire. And for Guecci, close chance at the checkered flag, but that was not meant to be. Jerry Rodriguez got it done, and 09 Machine has had to settle for the bridesmaid position multiple times over, and now wants to find his way to the checkered flag uncontested. High side for Armstrong. Wilkerson goes down low, but Joseph is your control car. It's the 22 up in front. Armstrong, Wilkerson, Chase Schaefer, and Braxton Whitaker, with Vincent Guecci currently rounding out in your top 5. And that's the way it goes so far here in the Sparks 213, race 12 of a 15 race campaign in the IORA Cup Series. 2 drivers are still in championship contention, and those 2, 11th and 12th respectively. There's Sean Coughlin's number 54, and rolling into the scene on the bottom of the track, Daniel Mosteller's number 87, 11th and 12th coming into the night. And of course, they're coming in as 11th and 12th in the race, 1st and 2nd in the championship. While Conklin has a 4-point advantage, that may change, as Mosteller known to be an incredibly proficient super speedway racer. But so far, the dominant forces of the night have been Wilkerson and Armstrong, and a hint of Chase Schaefer there as well. Drivers who are up in front on that top 3 right now have avoided the trouble, led the laps, and kept themselves up in front no matter the scenario. So I think we got a good bunch to watch as this race will progress. Keep an eye on everyone who's right now inside the top 5, namely Wilkerson and Armstrong, as these 2 in particular have been able to hold over the field and keep the best of the best spots to themselves. This time by, though, it's going to be the iRacing official pace car that leads the field no more, as the pace car will come down and into pit road. Control car on the Interstate Batteries paint scheme. It's going to be Joseph Armstrong, set to get back at it for your 3rd restart of the night. Pace car is in, Armstrong is up in front, and now it's time to get back at it here as they go through the Geico restart zone. Green flag gonna fly in the air yet again. Lap 35, restart number 3, and we are back underway. Restart number 3 in Talladega, this time led by Joseph Armstrong. Armstrong got the race lead, but the top side might not have enough momentum here, as you'll see Jacob Wilkerson now barreling down on the bottom, has the speed, has the push, and just like that gets shoved up in front. River Page going to take it to the bottom of the track with a huge shove from Braxton Whitaker, though. No worries about what's behind him for Jacob Wilkerson. Clean skies ahead, and he's got it clear. Now we're going to see Sean Rowe goes onto the higher side, and Rowe for the first time looking at the podium all night long as he gets right through into the 2nd spot. Sean Rowe's up top. Will Shack is bringing himself in, and his best finish so far for Will Shack in a plate race. He's seen top 5 finishes. He's had those runs beforehand. Now needs to capitalize in the final laps, which is the most important aspect of any race. But here at Talladega, getting through a final lap wrecker, a very close call late in the going, that can be treacherous, and some drivers haven't quite figured it out. For Wilkerson right now, he's not had to figure it out, as he's been largely up in front of his competition, and that might not be the case any longer if James Thurston has his way down low, with Joseph Armstrong now taking it to the front. He's got Sean Rowe, River Page, and Chase Schaefer helping, but it might not be for long until Armstrong lays the block, and Rowe thought he had it away, but he's not going to have a chance. This time by, he gets it, and Sean Rowe will look for the race lead on his own, and the Paintbrush Racing drivers are now 1st and 2nd, PBR a 1-2, with Rowe up in front, Wilkerson in 2nd, and took them just about half the race to link up, but the teammates are now up ahead, and Joseph Armstrong not going to be happy about that one, and you can see he almost bangs doors with Jacob Wilkerson, and he's still looking for the race win on his own accord. The teammates getting together might make it a bit harder, but it doesn't mean it's time to quit. It might be time to dive low. Joseph Armstrong goes to the bottom of the track, nearly lifted over, and Armstrong is going to be way out of contention for now. Armstrong damaged up, and you can see stuck in the grass. That might be his night, as the yellow flag not going to fly fly. Number 22 machine gets sent down low, and we'll take a look at that one with an instant replay as you'll see trouble for Joseph Armstrong. Chase Schaefer getting back up to his bumper, and it looks like he had the race lead clearly. Schaefer goes low, Armstrong tries to block, wiggles once, twice, and gets finished off. And you'll see lift in the air, gets that contact with the outer barrier, and for Joseph Armstrong now going to be way beyond the field, 25 seconds back and far out of winning contention as pit road's going to get busy, and Jacob Wilkerson's going to slide. He goes in once again, goes up through the field, and they're going to slide once again big time. Yellow flag is out. One driver up and over, and it looks to be the number 4 of James Thurston. Still sideways, and he still is not on all fours. James Thurston gets destroyed, and we've got huge trouble with a driver flying by our cameras. Caution is out, and another messy situation down the back straightaway. Take a look once again. It looks like Mosteller tagged by Sean Rowe, Wilkerson tagged by River Page, and Thurston tries to get away from it. Slammed by Wilkerson, and he gets shot right up to the top of the track and gets lifted up, stays lifted, and James Thurston, with the wildest ride all season long, ends up sideways on the grass. And for Thurston, it was not only the contact with drivers around him, it was that lifting point, and he got sent into aerospace. 30-second replay one more time to look at that once again. James Thurston goes for a wild ride, and take a look once more. And you can see it all ends up now at a standstill, but at one point several feet up in the air, dozens of feet high, flipping up and down. James Thurston goes for a wild ride, and not quite the outcome he expected as he ends up flipped at the end of a journey down through turns 3 and 4. Thurston was rocketing through, gets hit by Wilkerson, and that slam sends him right toward this minor bump, and you might not even see it until Thurston gets lifted, comes right at the catch fence, and flies right by our camera. He's up and over, does a barrel roll. He was then sent to another frenzy, flipping high, and he almost gets perpendicular to the track and then gets shot right into the path of Wilkerson, flies above Wilkerson's car, and the dramatics continue as Thurston lifted right over Jacob Wilkerson. And now we'd like to see that angle here as huge trouble with the number 43. This will be the final angle we take a look at before we send it back to the live feed. Jacob Wilkerson avoids trouble in his own right despite getting involved in that wreck. Looks like he almost got hit by James Thurston, and the front end for him destroyed as well. Take a look now as we look back one more time upon this wreck. James Thurston destroyed. Jacob Wilkerson also not quite lucky here, but it looks like he barely avoids another disaster. And a driver right over his head the whole time that wreck occurred. James Thurston, Jacob Wilkerson, and they too both went the same distance, but in much different ways. Wilkerson is destroyed. Your poster in big trouble. 40 laps in, yellow flag is out again, and this time it's substantial damage, which gives way to Will Shack being your race leader. Will Shack has the advantage. Oliver Quinney's now going to be in second. Braxton Whitaker is going to be third, and Kenny Reel, despite some fast repair troubles early, now finds himself in fourth with Alexander Balderas rounding out the top 5. It's going to be a mission into space for James Thurston that sends him to pit road, and for Jacob Wilkerson avoiding contact with a up and down. James Thurston still slammed big time by River Page, and he's going to have major damage to keep an eye out for as well. Halfway into this one as they come across the stripe, this time by new race leader and a new group of guys who lead the way, and certainly a change of pace from the beginning of this one. First 15, 16 laps, we ran all under green. We've seen 4 cautions since that point, and not a lot to ride home about in regards to long-form racing as we'll come across the stripe yet again for what will be lap number 41 on the day. Tricky night for these drivers and getting even harder to manage. Now, with fewer drivers in winning contention in regards to damage and performance being disabled in some sense, either aerodynamic, the engine, the suspension, we're going to see some new drivers rising up to the top of the board. And for Will Shack, that's exactly his end goal, looking for what would be his first career IORA Cup Series victory. He now leads the way. Oliver Quinney, rookie this season, also going to be in the same position, looking for win number 1. And tonight at Talladega, anyone has the speed to do so. But as you've seen, not everyone can avoid a wreck. Not everyone can avoid being involved in a wreck. And right now, it all comes down to avoiding trouble, staying with the pack, and keeping the right strategy. Doing all three of which gives you a much better shot at the end of the night. But who's to say that's even enough? You've got to understand, every race at Talladega, there's something different to it. And with the chaos we've already seen, with the moments that are hard to replicate, like James Thurston flying up and down, some troubles down a pit road as well, something you can't really take account for until you experience it on the sim. And drivers come through now for another restart at lap number 42. We now have 39 green flag laps left to go at the very most. See how much of that we get under green and how much comes through under yellow. For Will Shack, he's in a great position, but he still has just about half the way to go here to get to the checkered flag, and he hopes to do so in one piece. The Tabasco number 35 machine is on a hot streak as of recent. Most few. Of course, when it comes to incidents, he's been in the fewest of which, for the majority of the field, they've been involved in at the minimum 2. For Shaq, he's been able to avoid the most of which, and after some troubles early, now is up in front. iRacing official pace car will drop down to pit road, this time by, and leave it to the number 35 of Will Shack. It's going to be a rookie on the bottom side, another winless driver up top, Kenny Reel, Chase Schaefer right there behind the two of them, as the leading pair will get us back in motion for restart number 4. Here we go again. Green flag is out, led by Will Shack, back on the way with restart number 4. And now as the drivers get rolling down the back straightaway, it's going to be the green flag back in the air. Chase Schaefer, Alexander Balderas already helping each other down low. Bottom side going to have some speed. Same goes for the top, and you'll see that high groove with Will Shack leading it. Kenny Reel also going to be in the mix, not to mention Henry Kaloff, and it looks like now Oliver Quinney right there too. High side going to be comprised of 4 drivers in particular who get that big run, while Chase Schaefer ends up much slower with Alexander Balderas sort of sending him down to the bottom. Now Schaefer's going to be passed by Casey Benson and Braxton Whitaker respectively, and early trouble is going to continue for a few of these guys. Balderas gets sent back to 9th, Chase Schaefer gets sent back into 13th, and now you begin to wonder whether or not these drivers are intentionally racing to the back of the field to stay out of trouble. Let the few drivers who really want to go for it up in front continue to go for it, and it looks like they're going to have trouble once again. Vincent Guecci going to spin. Is the yellow flag going to fly? Looks like that it will. Caution is out. Vincent Guecci, Braxton Whitaker, and we're back under yellow for the 5th time tonight. Guecci, big time damage. Same goes for Braxton Whitaker. Yellow flag is out, and once more, trouble in the middle of the field. And taking a look right back at the instant replay, we'll show you what just happened. Guecci up top on Balderas, gets sent by the number 95, hits then the Braxton Whitaker machine as the number 51 comes through. Both drivers make contact. Yellow out once again, and with Whitaker getting caught in the mix, so does Vincent Guecci. Caution is out yet again. 44 laps in out of 80, another run is going to be stopped early by another caution, and the yellow flag out. 44 laps in out of 80, so halfway through and then some. This is going to be your 5th caution of the night, and in the past 30 odd laps we have seen a minimum of 5 cautions. Who's to say we don't get a 6th? that remains to be seen, and as it stands, your overall race report will show more of the same. Race summary to this point will show you 5 cautions with 37 laps to go on the day, 11 caution laps so far, and 18 lead changes, having our fair share of battles up in front, but a few of them being stopped by these cautions, so hopefully we'll have a bit more of this race to go, which will be under green, as opposed to the most recent troubles we've continued to see in these final few laps of the first half, which have sort of bled over to the final laps of this race. Will Shack is going to come down to pit road this time by. Here he goes. Shack is in. He'll take Sean Rowe. In addition, Kenny Reel, Oliver Quinney, and a majority of the field will come through this time by. And now the decision is made. Every driver trying to get another strategy call in the books as the majority of the field comes down at once. Pit stops once again to get the field busy down on pit road. And it looks like right now, Will Shack and Kenny Reel at the stripe going to fight each other. Reel gets the pit road win. Then it'll be Will Shack, Alexander Valderas, not to mention then Casey Bentz, Oliver Quinney, and Chase Schaefer comes out now in position number 6. 7th is then going to be held by whoever comes out next. And right now, everyone taking their time. Extensive damage repair to most. 7th place is then going to be held by the driver of the number 09. Looks like it's going to be Vincent Guecci out immediately thereafter. Then you're going to see Henry Kaloff on the move and Braxton Whitaker. Now the drivers who round out the top 10 are on the way. Jacob Wilkerson is going to be no longer with the drivers up in front. Stays on pit road. Well, like now we have ourselves a top 10 to look at, and it's going to be Kenny Reel leading. Now Will Shack 2nd, Alexander Balderas in 3rd, Casey Benz 4th, and Oliver Quinney in 5th. If it wasn't for James Thurston, who does still remain on the track, and despite his troubles, it is James Thurston on his own up in the front of the field on the lead lap. And take a look inside the cockpit here. We'll hear the engine and see how quick Thurston can go. Still seems to be a lot of damages. He'll come down to pit road once again. Again, the lead lap. He'll take it down once more and get some more damage repair. It's inside the number 4 machine. The engine might be just enough to keep rolling, but definitely not with that race-winning pace of earlier, as it's going to be another pit stop for James Thurston down and in. Kenny Reel is now going to be your race leader. As a result, will be set to get back to the green flag at lap 47. It's going to be Kenny Reel, Will Shack, Alexander Balderas, and Casey Bentz up in front as they come through this time by. Reel's got the race lead for the first time all night long. Will Shack remains inside the top 2. Alexander Balderas is now going to put himself inside the podium, and Casey Bentz, in what was only going to be his 2nd points-paying start, finds himself just beyond the reach of the podium. Maybe a top 3 in sight for a driver who's getting used to the way of the racing here in the IORA Cup Series. Down low, Balderas, he's going to take Casey Bentz right there with him. Yellow flag is still flying as Kenny Reel leads up on the top side. Alexander Balderas right down low to Tabasco, number 35. That's going to be Will Shack up top and Casey Bentz on the bottom. That's the 36 Toyota Camry that keeps things rolling in the 4th spot. Here we go again. Control car Kenny Reel, and live on FTN, you've seen the first 46 laps, most recently a few yellow flag laps in between. Now we're set to get back to the green flag racing, and hopefully we'll see a bit more of that non-stop action that we saw to kick off tonight, the opening 15-lap run. Jacob Wilkerson is 15th right now, the final driver on the lead lap. Joseph Armstrong retired 8 laps ago. Xander McKinney, 29 laps ago. And despite those 2 retirees, the rest of the field does remain racing. So we still have a good majority of this pack still with us here as we head down to the final stretch very soon. 46 laps in out of 80. We've seen some troubles. We've seen some major wrecks and huge incidents. And now we're trying to put that behind us and move on to the final stretch with Alexander Balderas and Kenny Reel as your front row. The iRacing official pace car has made quite a few visits up to the front of the field already, and just made another pace car set to go down and in this time by. And Going to be Balderas leading on the bottom side with Kenny Real controlling this restart. Here we go for restart number 5. Pace car is going to come down in this time through lane 2. Chevy Camaros take control of the Bowtie Brigade up in front. Then going to be a Ford and a Toyota right behind. All manufacturers represented tonight, and they're all fighting up in front. Talladega still has a lot more racing to give as we head back for our 5th restart of the night. Here we go again through the guide code restart zone. Kenny Real gets the lead, and he'll grab the gear. Green flags out once more in Talladega. And get that early jump there. Kenny Real with some pushing from Will Shack. Coming down the back straightaway this time by side yet again with Balderas and Chase Schaefer once more working with one another. Going to be a good strategy for these two drivers to continue working with each other. However, they're hoping to make sure it goes better than it did at Daytona. Multiple times these drivers got into each other at Daytona, and ended up benefiting neither of them to be bit more aggressive than average with each other, trying to push hard and get away from the field. But tonight been a bit more of a smooth working relationship between Schaefer and Alexander Balderas, and as such, here we go. There's going to be Balderas leading, blocking Demos up top. Mosteller opts to give Balderas a shove, does not give up just yet on working that 95 over, and you'll see why. Bottom side, there goes Demos, and already fighting for the race lead. As soon as he gets in the mix, he goes fighting for the top spot. It's going to be now Daniel Mosteller looking to make his way through and push past another driver in Alexander Balderas. Demos has the race lead. Balderas opts to drop down low yet again, and now Kenny Real finds himself right behind the top 2 battle, as he's now going to see Sean Rowe come into the mix, and could be the top 3 drivers fighting for one spot. Now it's going to be Kenny Real, middle of 3 wide, and we're watching on board now inside the cockpit of this number 11. Definitely a different look as we'll see inside of Kenny Real's number 11. A lot of going on all around him, and you'll see a look at his telemetry on this lap. Best lap so far, Kenny Real tonight, 49.256. Most recently ran a 50.292, and now Real's going to be sent to the middle of the pack, and he's going to be sent very far back into the field from the top 5 all the way down to now 13th. Kenny Real's going to get that rocket ship momentum down the backstretch to keep minute, but losing a lot of more time than he'd like to, and all of a sudden far out of race-winning contention as Sean Rose, your new race leader. Then from there, it's going to be Jacob Wilkerson second and River Page in third. So a new bunch up ahead, and all of a sudden, with just over 30 laps remaining, Sean Rose got the lead. Jacob Wilkerson is back in front, and despite his earlier troubles, he'll see more yet again. Jacob Wilkerson is going to get up and over another driver with huge trouble, and Wilkerson set in the air, stays on all 4s, but another huge hit to the number 43, and Jacob Wilkerson sent to the back of the field. Instant replay will show you just a bit more. And up in front, thought he had a shot to keep it up there with the leaders. You'll see as he comes through with Chase Schaefer. Maybe not meant to be this time around, as he's going to get up to Sean Rowe, then get hit by Schaefer, sent down to the grass, and another one of those huge bumps is going to take Jacob Wilkerson, send him nearly fully airborne, and the number 43 once again sees trouble. And tonight, every chance he's had to be up there, he's seen immediately how bad it can get if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And now it's going to be Chase Schaefer who falls back as well. It's going to be Sean Rowe who instead keeps the spots, and it's going to be River Page who finds himself in the second position here. And you'll see the Miata Gang Designs number 24 for Elite Performance Industries running in second, and as he takes it down, the Alabama Gang Super Stretch, he's only one spot away from taking that lead. Right now though, Rowe holding on quite nicely, and even though Chase Schaefer was out of luck after that hit with Wilkerson, River Page made his way back up, capitalized on the situation, and such. Now it's going to be River Page second, Sean Conklin third, Oliver Quinney's going to be fourth, and Will Shack is going to be inside the top 5. All of a sudden, even Will Shack getting in the mix as the 2x2 yet again. 51 laps in, this time by, and it's going to be now Will Shack looking to get that race lead. He's going to be in the 3rd spot on the bottom groove, only has to get by in terms of the bottom side, both Oliver Quinney and Sean Rowe. But now River Page has the race lead, and River takes it back up. Just like that, new race leader in terms of the number 24 team. They've got it for the first time all night long. River Page is up in front, and he's still looking for his first win on the season. Page has been fast. He's had podium speed beforehand. However, getting past that top 3 and moving on to the top spot has been the biggest trouble. It's not had the race-winning pace when it matters the most this season. And execution in the late stages, of course, an issue for many drivers, but for River, knowing how much speed he has, it's shocking. He has not yet been able to make it happen for a race win. However, that could change as this night progresses. Chase Schaefer now going to be on the bottom side. River Page blinks once. Daniel, of course, is going to be in the mix there, but it's going to be Alexander Balderas now looking with Chase Schaefer, 2 drivers below compared to the rest of the field on the high side. And now River Page is going to have a lot more momentum to work with everyone supporting him and the rest of the field staying on that low groove. Page has the lead. Sean Conklin going to be up top as well. Sean Rowe going to be 3rd. And now Daniel Mosteller has to make up time and make it up fast. For Demos, he knows he's going to have to play it smart from this point onward. Running in 14th while his championship rival is running in 2nd. Definitely not going to be the best of situations to be in right now. However, knowing that in the flip of a switch, in a blink of an eye, anything can happen at Talladega. You know, if there's trouble ahead, you can avoid it if you are behind. And right now, that might just be the mindset for Daniel Mosteller, knowing that everyone now going to be running their own lines and staying solid either on the highest side or the middle groove. Maybe we're going to be waiting to see more aggression, which could give way to another caution. And now, aggression comes back into form. Chase Schaefer going to be railing down the back straightaway. Now going to be in the middle groove. Bottom side of speed this time around with Alexander Balderas and Oliver Quinney. Quinney going to be 2nd. Casey Bentz is going to be 3rd. And River Page is then going to be in 4th with Chase Schaefer 5th and Sean Conklin then in 6th. Vincent Guetsch going to be 7th. Sean Rowe is 8th. Will Shack 9th. And James Thurston then in 10th now. Top 10 going to be separate by only half a second. Daniel Mosteller still chooses to lie back. However, the rest of the field ahead of him is getting closer and closer and even more close now that Chase Schaefer has the lead, trying to defend 2 lines at once. Got Balderas right behind him, Sean Conklin right beside him, and now it's going to be 2 Ford Mustangs up ahead. It's the number 99 machine with a big shove from Balderas once more, taking it further out in front. Here we go again with number 99 and Chase Schaefer leading, and after winning at Atlanta, there's a chance once again to pull it through the SuperSpeedway style track. Could be 2 consecutive, but it could be 2 in a row for Sean Conklin, who won at Daytona, hoping to win at another big SuperSpeedway in Talladega. And as they come through this time by 25 laps remaining, Chase Schaefer still has the lead. Balderas going to be there in 2nd. River Page going to be 3rd, and Oliver Quinney then going to be right there in 4th. Top 4 drivers are going to be now only separate by 0.2 of a second. Goes to show how close the best pushers and shovers can get to each other without causing a scene. Because all of a sudden, getting another longer run. This has been about 10 green flag laps in succession. Nice to see after several laps held under yellow in a row that we're getting ourselves back on the way and getting that better racing to end the night. There's Braxton Whitaker down at the bottom. Kenny Reel right up top. They'll be neck and neck yet again. And with 56 laps in out of 80, there's a lot of time still to go until we really find out who's got what it takes in regards to pulling it all together in what could be a still fuel mileage heavy race. 57 out of 80 still. We got 24 laps left, and we've done 13 so far, which would mean a 37 lap run on fuel, which has not been attempted so far. Matter of fact, don't think we've seen anything over the 25 lap marker, which means if this race were to go under green, it would go into newfound territory in terms of fuel limits, and we might see drivers coming down a pit road understanding if there is a green flag run, you don't want to risk it, you don't want to be out of contention when we go long term. But now, that might be coming into the minds of these drivers is the most part, there goes single file. Daniel Mosteller now going to be 11th. Sean Conklin right there 10th. And with the exception now, Balderas and Chase Schaefer, most drivers are going to try that single file for at least a lap or two. Schaefer goes down low, and another set of near misses as the number 95 ends up on his own, and Oliver Quinney opts to split him 3 wide. Vincent Guecci's got the race lead and now has himself up in front as they come across the back straightaway, this time by with 23 laps to go. Gonna be trouble with Chase Schaefer, nearly getting hooked by Sean Rowe, but all remains clean and we will stay green. Coming this time by to 22 laps to go, we'd like to thank our official camera provider live on FTN, TrackCams22.com, the best camera provider for broadcasters and sim racing photographers with over 100 car and track combinations. Check out TrackCams22.com after tonight's broadcast for more information, as we are set to crank it up this time by with 22 laps remaining, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. With 17 laps remaining, 3-1 once again for the race lead, and already it's going to be tempers slowly rising. We're seeing competition slowly get stronger. 64 laps in out of 80, coming down to the home stretch here in Talladega. It's going to be Chase Schaefer leading, Alexander Baldera second, and Sean Rowe currently going to be in third. As with 17 laps left, we now are going to find out who's got what it takes to go till the very end here. Slowly but surely, drivers beginning to appear into the of their fellow competitors. You're going to see Daniel Mostetter still lying back in 12th. Will Shack there in 11th, but Chase Schaefer might not be able to hold on any further. Schaefer's not going to be with the field, but locks it down and saves it again. And while Chase Schaefer is going to be, of course, the one who loses out the most, number 99, a fantastic save. And now it's going to be Chase Schaefer further and further back. 65 laps in, now about 5 seconds off the pack, which will leave him out of contention without a yellow flag. Schaefer sees trouble and once again gets shot out of line. Take a look at the instant replay, which will show you just a bit more. Balderas gets up to the quarter panel, makes that contact, and Chase Schaefer sent out of line. He locks it down proper and gets back on the way. However, still going to be a substantial loss here as he loses all that time and now finds himself out of the draft. That's the most important part right now. Not being the leader, not having track position. Well, track position is essential. Having the draft is that much more important. Lap in, lap out. You have to understand that if you're not going at the same speed as the leaders, there's no way you can keep up with them consistently. And that means that right now there's going to be a lot more in terms of staying with the pack as opposed to getting risky for at least the final few laps. Maybe that last lap we see drivers go all out, but right now that's not a guarantee. Mostly single file once again. Fitzwetchy goes up top. River Page does too, takes Alexander Balderas right there with him, and Balderas once again a very, very late block as he goes way up top yet again. Number 95 making risky moves, and Vincent Gwetching to benefit once more. Here comes James Thurston, here comes Sean Conklin, and they're all coming through together. Now it looks like we're going to see another bunch of drivers make some moves to get further up in front in the dying laps. Another group makes its way through. Thurston heavily damaged. Despite that, he's running up in front, and we saw him go airborne flip across the track, and he's still there in the second position. Keeping in mind, he's had to go down a pit road several times for extensive damage repair. His night seemed to be over by the lap 40 marker, but now coming closer to lap 80, he's back in business, looking to finish it off once and for all. Kenny Reel's going to be right there, right down low. There goes Alexander Balderas down to the apron, and not quite sure what's going on now with the number 95. He merges right back in. Kenny Reel going to take Balderas down low, and already going to be some more troubles for the number 11. Reel's going to drop down, does not go down to pit road, but loses time substantially as well, and might have to succumb to the same fate as of Chase Schaefer. And just like that, Schaefer's going to be way back in 12th, Reel in 11th. Will Shack is going to be in 10th. And now it's going to be only a total of 10 drivers with this leading pack with 68 laps in out of 80. 13 laps to go. A baker's dozen remains. And now time to get cooking. If you're up in front here, you want to separate yourself from the rest of the field. Keep this position. You're in a great spot if you're inside the top 10 right now, and particularly if you're inside of the top 5. I mean, there is going to be a little bit of connection to Will Shack right now, but he's got to be full throttle for any opportunity. I don't think they're going to be playing nice right now. As you can see, Will Shack is going to be way behind Daniel Mosteller and Braxton Whitaker, not to mention Jacob Wilkerson is still intact. However, he's not a lead lap driver. He's still running with the field up in front as a lapper. Up to the top of the track, Sean Rowe's going to block big. River Page will have the lead, 69 laps in. Nicely done at the stripe to keep that race lead ahead of Sean Rowe, and Rowe's now going to get a few more pushes and shoves, a bit more aggressive than before. And Alexander Balderas opts to go up high, taking Braxton Whitaker right there with them. A dozen laps remain. Sean Conklin is going to be now in 8th. Daniel Mosteller is in 9th. Keep in mind, this is the battle for the championship lead as well. 87 machine and the number 54. Conklin right now is a 4-point advantage heading into tonight. However, if Demos gets a better race here in Talladega than Conklin does, it could be the number 87 leading the championship en route to what could be his 3rd championship in IORA Cup Series competition. They're going to going to be 3 wide once again. Quinney's going to be right there with River Page and Sean Conklin. Same goes for Balderas, Rowe, and Guecci. Vinny's going to take it down to the bottom, and 11 laps remain for the driver, the number 09, Vincent Guecci, once again grabs the race lead. And 26 laps in, 11 laps to go. This stint, running long, still has yet to see a potential pit stop cycle, and we're still not sure whether or not we're going to get one, because these drivers, they're pushing hard in terms of fuel, especially the drivers up ahead who lead these packs. They don't have the draft to rely on, so as a result, they're using up more in terms of fuel, putting more power down, and that is going to come back maybe to bite them. Of course, if we have to come down to pit road as a collective and see another cycle of pit stops, but it's not guaranteed. These drivers will not have enough in the tank as they come through this time by with only 10 laps to go. And with 10 laps remaining, Alexander Balderas will lead at the line. Number 95 machine is once again advantageous. He's got it up in front and looks to hold on as he comes down the back straightaway, this time by Sean Rowe, pushing and shoving the number 95 out in front. Rowe's going to end up going to the second groove. Vincent Guecci opts to stay on the bottom side, and with Sean Rowe being isolated, he will drop back on his own, lonely, and he's now going to try to get that merger behind Braxton Whitaker. Gets the spot. Now goes up top with River Page, and you will see leader's perspective, a lot to pay attention to in the rear view mirror, but sometimes you're going to just drive, focusing on what is ahead of you at the line. Nearly 3 wide, Guecci's got the just barely advantage of the race lead as they come through at 9 laps remaining, single digits here in Talladega. It's going to be Balderas once again getting that jump. He gets back to the race lead and now has it ahead of Braxton Whitaker in second. Whitaker chasing a first career victory. He wants to get it done as much as anyone else here. Balderas, Whitaker, Guecci, they're going for first career wins. For Thurston, Conklin, Mostel, they're high up in the point standings tonight. Doesn't mean it's a must-win scenario, but right now it is big and even bigger to get those better nights than your competitors and rivals in the field. And the point standings are as essential as they've gotten all season long. Now we're seeing another battle, and it's going to be Conklin and Mosteller side by side across the 3 wide lanes that are being made here in Alabama. Alexander Balderas leads at the line yet again. Braxton Whitaker going to cut him a lot of slack right now. James Thurston's getting up there in the number 51, and we will see whether or not Thurston has enough in the tank to go fighting for his own cause, because that damage is major. It's impressive in its own right that this number 4 team is up in front trying to fight for position, let alone giving it a very realistic shot. Now Braxton Whitaker down to the bottom side has the race lead. River Page is going to push Balderas this time through. Now it's going to be Alexander Balderas looking to take it back to the top spot. Number 95 is out in front, has to block down low, turns himself. Balderas down to pit road, locks it down, but ends up out of contention. Number 95 of Alexander Balderas flies back on the track, and even though he ends up down on pit road, gets back with the field, and an immediate save after a huge mistake. 7 laps to go. Night is not over for Balderas. He gets right back in contention and has to fly down to the bottom of the track to recover. How about that move for the number 95 of Alexander Balderas? And we'll take a look back on an instant replay here as it looks like he turned himself down in a River Page. He ends up right there with River. River's gonna look a bit low. Balderas, late block, sends him down into pit road, saves it immediately, and puts the power back down to get with the field immediately thereafter. And coming up 4 wide on the merger, Balderas gets back with them, and just like that, is back with the field, still running in 7th. And at the line, gonna get back up there with River Page already. It's now going to be a total of 6 laps to go. And up in front, Sean Rowe's got the lead. Sean Conklin is in second. Another Sean and Sean show with Vincent Guecci now running third. And after that huge incident there, Balderas saving it is all he could do, but the field is still separate more than before, and that's not going to help his cause out in the slightest. Balderas now finds himself in 5th. River Page is going to be now sent way low. An aggressive move there for the number 24 as he's going to see Balderas all over him, and already the number 95 back inside the fight for the second as River leads the way. Sean Conklin is going to get the shove from Vinny, and the battle for second rages on, this time by 54 as help. Number 95 does not. At the line, River Page will lead with 5 laps to go, and now it's going to come down to whether or not the Ryko Performance team can pull it together for win number 5 on the season and keep a head and shoulders campaign ahead of their competitor Daniel Mosteller. Demos is still there in 7th. And if push comes to shove, the number 87 could come alive. He is known to have those late race resurgences. Last SuperSpeedway race at a big track in Daytona, it was an 18th to 2nd run in the final 2 laps. Daniel Mosteller knows how to get it done when it matters most. So now with this number 87 machine being within sight of the podium and the race win, you might see a bit more of Mosteller as River Page is up on the wall, and he's going to get sent up high. River Page in big trouble. Yellow flag will fly and the caution's out. We're headed to overtime. River Page is destroyed. And with Page absolutely decimated, you can see there that number 24 machine comes all the way apart. Instant replay will show you just what caused it here, and we'll send it back watching what happened with the number 95, the McDonald Chevrolet, fighting with River Page. Page has a connection issue, and Balderas goes up top, tries to get there on River Page, and it looks like as they come through conjoined down the tri-oval, Page goes low, Balderas will hook the 24, and River Page gets sent up high. Yellow flag flies as a result. Smoke show for River Page. That might be his night. As you can see, the suspension murdered on that 24, and he's limping around the track. And if the motor blows before he gets down to pit road, he is in deep, deep trouble. And it just gave. River Page has to go about 1.5 miles without a motor, and I don't think that's going to be possible. He has blown his motor, and Chase Schaefer will come to help him and get him there to the pit road. So it looks like River Page gets lucky here, but he does not have a motor, and he hardly has a suspension, so we'll see whether or not he can keep things going, because if he ends up getting turned on the way in, that's going to be the end of it, and he'll have to tow regardless. River Page on the lead lap, but just barely. Keep in mind, he does have a faster pair in his back pocket made for a moment just like this. So River Page gonna make his way in with some huge assistance from Chase Schaefer, and Schaefer's gonna send him in, make sure he gets in nicely, and that's gonna give this number 24 one final chance to go for the race win. Looked like he had a shot earlier, and now with the caution flying, it's still gonna be a harder night than beforehand, but having the opportunity to get that faster pair is more than anything else, and the Goodyear rubber for Chase Schaefer going to be fully repaired if he comes down to pit road 2 for service. River Page, big pit stop for him, and pit road still busy as drivers get back on the way. Alexander Balderas leads with 3 laps to go. This will be an overtime finish, which means to kick this thing off, we'll get back at it and have more than 80 laps overall on the table. So with that being said, race length is going to be officially extended. Lap 80 was set to be our official ending lap. However, with the caution so late in the going, we will have more time to go racing, and looks like we'll be going to about lap 82 to get things going. It's going to be the driver of the number 95, Alexander Balderas, top spot, then going to be Vincent Guecci second, then it's going to be Oliver Quinney third, Daniel Mosteller, position number 4. Now, with this being said, we have a little bit of time before we get back going, so we'll send you to a brief iRacing Motorsport Simulations promotional break, as iRacing has a Black Friday deal still going till the end of 2023. 25% off all new memberships if you go to iRacing.com today and find out what the world's premier online simulator is about. Check out iRacing.com after tonight's broadcast, as we'll bring you a brief promotional message courtesy of our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We'd like to once again thank our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations for bringing all the action to you tonight. The world's premier online simulator allows for any fan of racing to get behind the wheel with the most realistic simulation of NASCAR stock car racing. In addition, Formula One, World of Outlaws, Lucas Oil Pro Trucks, not to mention Super Formula, all levels of Formula racing before F1, F3, F2, even bringing F4 to the mix, and sports cars such as IMSA and the World Endurance Championship. Find your fill at iRacing.com, and tonight we've had our fill of fun racing here at the Talladega SuperSpeedway. Before we get things going once again, I've been your host for all tonight's racing, David Troyes, commentating and producing. Been a fun night here in the IORA Cup Series to get back going after a week off, and I'll tell you this much, Talladega, always exciting. For Alexander Balderas, he's had a night to remember. One lap extension on this race, which means he'll have to go to lap 81 now to win it. He ended up going down a pit road at full speed, got back with a pack, got back into the lead, and now has Daniel Mosteller, a super speedway ace, right behind him, Vincent Guecci right beside him, and Sean Conklin looks to be down out of this one. As it stands, he's in 13th and fading back big, which means that Conklin's night might have just come to a close, and it means now that Daniel Mosteller will come out of the night effectively with a championship lead if he finishes at least 5 spots ahead of the number 54. Championship race turned on ahead as it's Vincent Guecci and Alexander Balderas coming back to the green flag for your first overtime attempt of the night. Green flags out, led by Balderas. Side by side, they're still going to be neck and neck down the Alabama gang super stretch. The green flag continues to fly, and no driver is going to be separating themselves to this point. Everyone stays near and dear. Looks like right now, Balderas is going to get a huge shove from Daniel Mosteller. Demos puts the run into motion, and as Sean Rowe right behind him as they'll come through turns 3 and 4. This time by, if they get to the white flag, this time by, the race is official, and this will be the final lap of competition here in Talladega. At the line, Balderas has the race lead. One more lap to go. Demos goes down low, and so begins the final lap. 1 lap remaining for Demos to get to the race lead, and that he does. Already up in front with Sean Rowe right behind, pushing and shoving down the Alabama gang super stretch. 195 miles an hour on the entry, and they'll hit speeds of 200 plus as they barrel their way down the back. Balderas gets turned. Chase Schaefer's gonna spin him, and the number 95 is out of contention. Jacob Wilkerson goes down to the bottom of the track, tries to get with Demos. That he does. It's a PBR sandwich. Demos in the middle, and Sean Rowe up in front. Rowe in part-time competition will come down to the tri-oval with the advantage. Goes up high, and Wilkerson goes down low. 3 wide pass. He was a champion last night. He's a winner today. Jacob Wilkerson will win the Sparks 213, 3 wide through the tri-oval. Wilkerson back on top. From the pole to the victory, Jacob Wilkerson will win here in Talladega. Checkered flag is out, and 2 triumphant nights for this number 43 team, once again back in victory lane. Jacob Wilkerson will come home a winner here in Talladega. Take a look at your results with second place, River Page, third, Jay Schaefer, and fourth being Braxton Whitaker. Fifth place is held by Vincent Queshy with Will Shack 6th and Daniel Mosteller 7th. Then Henry Kaloff 8th, Sean Rowe 9th, and Casey Bentz rounding out the top 10. Going to be Oliver Quinney 11th and Alexander Balderas 12th with James Thurston 13th, Kenny Reel 14th, Sean Conklin 15th, Joseph Armstrong 16th, with Xander McKinney and Ethan Eckert retiring before the green. Wilkerson will begin to burn down the house as he takes home the checkered flag in Talladega. And Jacob Wilkerson burns it down 2 nights in a row. Reason to celebrate. Last night came second in the championship decider. Tonight he'll win it all and take the checkered flag here in Talladega. Jacob Wilkerson back on top and getting it done. We'll have a word with your race winner momentarily as it's Wilkerson a winner again here in the IORA Cup Series. The checkered flag flies with Jacob Wilkerson as your winner over the second place driver over River Page, Jay Schaefer, to conclude your podium. And how about that finish? Jacob Wilkerson coming in clutch yet again, and it looks like right now the PBR race room is filled, and the driver, the number 43, is set for a word. 2 consecutive nights here, he's had reason to celebrate, and tonight he ends up as the winner, leading 6 laps on the day from the pole position, and you led that final lap, the one that mattered the most. A daring move at the end, enough to give you another win. Jacob Wilkerson, the checkered flag is yours in Talladega. How do you feel?
I don't think I deserve this at all. Like, I was a lap down on that final caution, and I went in pit and used my fast repair, and I came from the tail end all the way to the lead in 2 laps. And then I don't know what Sean was thinking there, but he kind of ruined his shot at a win. Just they all slowed each other down and just gave me the win for free. Like, I don't know. Like, that was kind of stupid on Sean there. Like, he ruined Demos a shot at a win, and he also ruined himself at a win. Like, I don't feel like I deserve this. Like, I don't like to win like that. Like, I feel like I wish the racing was a little bit more cleaner there, but I guess a win is a win, I guess.
And in that case, a win is a win. We saw the issue with the front stretch there between Mosteller and Sean Rowe gave you a clean run down to the bottom. 2 laps, however, so not everything's done in that one split moment. So how was it like working with the restart, the final of which after such a long night with a few cautions in between?
Yeah, after that one wreck where I lost the pack, I was just limping it around the whole track, and I went a lap down, and my main focus was just hoping for a caution and just keeping the car clean. The racing, I believe, in my opinion, was good the whole second half until that final restart. I don't like to win like this with the top 2 wrecking each other and me just getting the win for free.
Well, looks like tonight everything fell into your favor, getting the win here in Talladega, and at the end of it all, checkered flag is yours. Wilkerson, we've seen you part-time this season. You think he'll be coming back next week to maybe defend a race victory and go for 2 in a row?
Depends if I have any time to race, but and also depending on what track that they're going to next. But most of the races I've done this season have been pretty fun. And yeah.
And just like that, Jacob Wilkerson back in victory lane, winning in the IORA Cup Series and leading 6 laps on the day. Anything else you'd like to add after this one?
Thanks to May May for putting this league together. Thank you for broadcasting, and also shout out to the people watching. I have to thank Tadra for giving me the opportunity to race for PBR, and my sponsors, McConey Setup Shop and Burnt River Racing Warehouse. And yeah, see if we could. Hopefully, I could race next week.
Just like that, hoping to get back at it. Checkered flag here for Jacob Wilkerson, winning at the end of it all. It's another reason to celebrate for the 43. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And with Jacob Wilkerson on the move, we'll move on next to River Page, number 24, coming home in second tonight. 5 laps led for the number 24, and eventually getting home in the runner-up position. Despite that final caution and you being involved in it, you got back, put it all together, and avoided the chaos at the very end, and come home with a podium finish. River Page, second place. How you feeling?
I'm still kind of confused. I thought I was just gonna end up fourth. Maybe get to the win if Sean blocked the vehicle with the run, but he kind of just put Demos on the wall and gifted me that. But I don't know. Me and Chase and Throttle worked together in that last lap pretty well. Like what happened in the last Talladega race where I ended up making my way into the podium, but it was fun. I didn't expect to end up there, especially after Throttle just murdered me with like what was it, 5 to go. Just had to take the faster pair, man. That's why you save it right there. You get put in the wall there. You get dailed in the trial. Well, you gotta come in to fix it, and we had a lucky restart there. I get to work with one of my greatest iRacing companions, and we got it done.
And it looks like teamwork making the dream work for you and the company you work with all night long, Schaefer and Balderas, and despite a few hiccups along the way, especially that very late race moment, you got back up there and made it happen. How was it like, of course, having friends on the racetrack, knowing you could trust a few drivers around you amidst all the chaos?
It's helpful because there were some people that you really just couldn't push, but like Chase just didn't lift when he was getting to Throttle in the last lap. That's kind of how we ended up there. I mean, Throttle got turned because of we just got all checked up because we were triple training, I guess you could call it there, man. We were bumper to bumper to bumper, and so when Sean blocked, it kind of got him twirled around. But before that, we could just push each other as hard as we wanted. That like 30 lap run where Throttle and those other guys were up there was just kind of racing as hard as we can, just because I feel confident they can take it.
And we saw you guys racing each other very hard all throughout this race. Ended up, of course, with a restart to finish it all off. And just like that, this is our third technically super speedway style race in the books. You come home with the podium tonight, so a good race to look back on when all is said and done. And up next on the schedule, the final stretch is upon us. Coming back from that 1 week break from Talladega, we'll head to another big track in Pocono. How's it going to be like heading to Long Pond for maybe another shot at the top 3?
Blow ass at Pocono, but it's really fun. So I'll enjoy finishing right in the middle of the field. I think I've improved since we last raced there, but now I know kind of know what to do. I know that it's just a draft train, and if there's a final restart and you're in the back, you just don't take tires because you really can't pass unless you have to set it up for a while. And I mean, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I need to finish good again because Conk lagged out and Demos finished wherever he ended up at the end of that. So. We closed the points of battle a little bit. Brought some hope back to it. So I just hope I can finish well, just not wreck. That's always the ultimate goal.
And tonight, most needed here for this number 24 team, River Page, second place on day. Anything else you'd like to add after this event?
I'd like to thank all the sponsors on my race car. First and foremost, FTN, Fireball Talks NASCAR. You guys do a great job. Listen, man. Great broadcasting and. Especially getting your camera guy out of the way there while Thurston came flying at him was a horrifying event. Thankfully, Thurston was all right. Race CPI, I don't know who else is on my car, but all the locals on my car. Thank you. Truly.
Just like that, River Page comes home with a second place finish, avoiding the mayhem and just barely pulling it home for a podium. Thank you for your time.
If your dog does this...
And with River Page on the way, we got ourselves one more driver to talk to in Chase Schaefer. Schaefer, third place finish on the day. You came home barely at the stripe with a podium and a 10th off the win. How do you feel coming home in the top 3?
It's a podium at a super speedway, so we cannot complain about that. Had a good race. Kind of caused some incidents. Did either neck code or just as our bull crap, but I mean, it is what it is. I really don't care. At the end of the day, it's third place at Talladega, which I'll always be happy for.
And it's always an unpredictable track, Talladega. No matter where you race it, in terms of leagues, or no matter what package you use, there's always something that's uncertain no matter what. So when it comes down to the night, we saw you had a lot of speed, had a good group to work with. What was it like putting it all together and making a very complete race when it all was said and done?
Well, we probably could have had the win had the backstretch not happened. I'm not mad at anyone. It's just unfortunate. Kind of ruined all momentum we had, but that allowed Wilkerson to kind of get up there and get the win. So good job on him. That was a really good move on the backstretch. But yeah, it was I had a good little group to work with at the end. Had River Page pushing me while I was pushing throttle, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, pretty good race.
And pretty good racing overall for this number 99 team. Coming back after our 1 week break, we're back in action with a big track swing. Up next, Pocono Raceway, so we're keeping things large. I think there's a shot to maybe go for another podium and keep the momentum rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I always like the intermediates or the talent tracks, and I would say that's definitely a talent track, definitely not a super speedway. So we always like doing those, and also the draft is still there too. So we'll have some fun next week.
And hoping to have some more fun. Chase Schaefer with a 6 laps led on the day. It's going to be a third place finish for the number 99 team. Anything else you'd like to add after this event?
Follow at Monster Designs _ on Twitter, and that's it. Thank you.
There we have it. Chase Schaefer comes home with a top 3 finish, rounding out the podium here in the Talladega Super Speedway. Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you.
With Chase Schaefer on the move, it's going to be the number 99 machine wrapping things off in our podium ceremony here from Talladega. Schaefer's going to be third. Second place is River Page, and Jacob Wilkerson, the FORL Cup Series champion, is now an IORA Cup Series winner. Avoided a mayhem of that last lap, the chaos, the ending scenario, and I'm sure Daniel Mosteller not happy with that one, but either way, he gets a big gain in the championship standings, so keep your eyes peeled for the Pocono Raceway, because the championship battle is only heating up further. Your top 3, Wilkerson, River Page, and Chase Schaefer will finish off the night here in the Talladega Super Speedway, and that's all we have for you tonight's event here in the Sparks 213. In Alabama. Thank you all for watching live again on FTN. I've been your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you enjoyed tonight's action, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is immensely appreciated, and we'd love to have you back for the remainder of this season. Thank you all for watching. We hope you have a fantastic night, and we'll be back. Hopefully, we'll have ourselves back Thursday, rather. As a matter of fact, don't believe we'll be back for a while here, so it's going to be IORA that is scheduled up next. We'll hope to have some more in between, though, so we'll keep you filled in on what's going to happen here in FTN, as we'll be back in full swing to get the new year rolling, but we got a few more races to end out 2023, and from there on out, we'll have another fantastic year waiting for you. Thank you all for watching live on FTN. This has been the presentation of the Sparks 213 in the IORA Cup Series. We hope to see you all whenever we're live again on FTN, and we hope you all have a fantastic night.